right, so here is my new Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 book. It has a 2-inch spine, 3 signatures, lots of little trim. This is my favorite book I think I've made so far. It has tie closure. It's just double tied. All right. Let's see if I can get that undone. This book is so cute. It has the little map on the inside, so I did not cover over it. This is a little flower charm from a pair of earrings that I got at Disney World when I went to visit my daughter this year. Then we've got a vintage game piece from Payday, and I thought it was perfect because it says 2 acres, so it's like the 100-acre wood, maybe. Little tag. And this is on there with one of those little, I think they're called bulb clips, I think. All right. This is a vintage Rolodex card with school milk tickets. This is old Winnie the Pooh paper that I've had forever waiting to use for something, and it was perfect in here. Here's the book. The whole book is here. Little button tag, vintage buttons. I included extra little clips in case you had charms. I didn't have any charms that matched the book very well, but they're there just in case you want to add something. This is a vintage card with little koalas. This is from a book about a koala party, Halloween party. Oops. This is a vintage baggage claim check, and then there's extra pieces of paper from the book there. These are pages. This is from a Smashbook tablet or notepad that my daughter had. This is kids writing paper. It is not vintage, but it's really, really cute. And if you want that, you can get it at the dollar store. They have a tablet at the dollar store. This is vintage graph paper. This is from a little vintage Winnie the Pooh game. Jamar, but it is so cute. It's a little bent, but it's old and has been loved, I think, by some family for a while. Here's a whole bunch of Monopoly money. And all of those are blank, of course, on the back. So you could totally journal on the back of them or put little pictures or something. Some more vintage fabric. Little vintage Monopoly piece. And a Project Life card. This is from my daughter's Disney book when she played violin. She doesn't use it anymore. I say vintage, it's early 2000s, so it's pretty old, but perfect for the book. More paper. There's the center of the signature. Paper. This is vintage science paper, I believe. This is a vintage postcard. It's written on, but how fun is that? It's from Disney World. Of course, we went with bear theme, the Winnie the Pooh and the bears. This is from a kid's craft book. I thought the little pig was cute. Kind of reminded me of Piglet. Vintage paper. There's another book page. And then here's another card from that game with Winnie the Pooh. And this is a piece of vintage notepad paper from Current. Some more paper left over. This is coffee dyed paper. And I put the little Mickey head with Tigger on it. Lots of paper. Here's Winnie the Pooh. I cut that out of another book. A vintage flash card. This little taggy, I put bells on, and they just barely jingle. Alright, let's see. I guess got a little ahead of myself. There's a blank recipe card. I just added a Mickey head to it so that you could journal on it. Here's the rest of that paper. This paper's so pretty. Here it is. Got vintage lace, more salvaged lace from, I think this was also from a table runner. Coffee paper. Part 1, The Art of Conversation. I think this is from Emily Post book, maybe? I think that's what I got that from, a vintage Emily Post book. This is an envelope. There's room to tuck stuff in there. This is from a vintage typing book. More vintage notebook paper. Project Life card with some vintage trim, some more vintage trim. Here, this is all vintage. Bingo card. This is an absent checklist for teachers back in the old days. A little vintage playing card. Notebook paper. This is one of my favorite pieces of vellum, and it has the different characters on it. It's so pretty. But you can see through it. Polka dots. These colors all match so well. And here's another, here's a page from my childhood coloring book, my Disney coloring book. So it's old, probably about 40 years old. There's a page from the Kentucky Derby cookbook that I've been using, The Wives of the Kentucky Derby. And it has carrots for rabbit. Here's a guest check. This is a vintage library card catalog card. It says The Hour of the Tiger to go with the Tigger. Here's a little bear playing card. There are a lot of playing cards in here. This is so cute. This is not an original. This is just a copy, but it's printed. But it is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So cute. Alright. Oh, the light's changing. Sorry about that. More paper of apricot citrus marmalade, little vintage recipe card. That's Project Life card, and another the other side of the pretty vellum with the animals. This is vintage crocheted trim. I used it as a belly band, and I just stuck a piece of paper under there. This is from one of our trips when we went a long time ago. I think, let's see, 2008 to Disney World. It's a fast pass, Winnie the Pooh fast pass. I thought it was perfect for in here, so I thought I'd share it with whoever gets the book. This is a Project Life card, Embark Adventures, and then a bridge score sheet. This is just a little card. More vintage paper. That's the other side of the typing. Sorry, the dogs are barking outside. This is a vintage honey label. I just glued it down and made a pocket out of it. I think I actually put it on cardstock because it was so thin, but it's so cute. And honey's perfect for Pooh Bear because Pooh Bear loves honey. Let's see if I can get that up there close. Look how cute that is. And then it's got Rolodex cards and some extra paper. Oh, the paper's glued down, so I used it behind the label. More paper. A vegetable garden, because Tigger's tearing up the vegetable garden, I think. This is also from one of our earlier trips. It is a monorail co-pilot license. How cute is that? And it matches the colors in this paper perfect. Everything matches so sweet. Project Life. This is from an old children's book. Kind of crispy, so it's really mostly decoration. I don't know that you would want to write on it. You could, probably. I've reinforced where it's been bent with washi tape just to be sure that it doesn't come apart. But it was so sweet. I had to put it in here. Coffee dyed paper. This is watercolor paper. Nice thick. The rest of the book. Vintage, or that's not vintage, it's ledger paper though. Here's a tag and a vintage Disneyland Castle card, 2 of clubs. Cute. Here's a vintage seed packet. Each one of my books, I try to put a seed packet in it if I have enough. This one got the nasturtium, and it matches the red so pretty. All right, then there's this little book. It says, "Let's go camping." And I put tiny notebook paper, vintage notebook paper. Or it's not vintage. Maybe. It's from one of those old-time daytime planners. And then it's got a few pages with some maps and just kind of looked woodsy. Perfect to go with Winnie the Pooh and the woods. Alright, here's some more woodsy paper. Animal Baby. This is all vintage. There's another page to the book. And here's a third card from that game. This one's the honey pot. Oh, now can you see that? The light's starting to change. I waited too long to film it. This is vintage wrapping paper. Has little stuffed animals on the back. That's another extra piece of paper, vintage paper. Here's a tuck spot with a flinch card. And this is vintage lace or crocheted lace. It's all throughout the book. There's a whole bunch of it in here. This page is kind of wrinkled, but better to be recycled than trashed. Alright, let's see. These are the backs to some of those pages. Here's another Project Life card in that little bag. This is a candy company receipt, a vintage candy company receipt. There's one of the little Mickey Mouse heads. And the Project Life card. This one opens up. And then 2 pieces of paper left over. And that is the end. And there's the last of the garden and more of that map, that sweet map. There's the front. There's the front and the spine, the back. And then they all have the corners. Each side has the corners. Alrighty. Thanks, guys.